Welcome back to Harper Living. I missed you guys. I hope you guys missed us. I've been trying to just wrap my bridal season up so I could pay attention and come back and focus on what I love the most, which is cooking and making recipes and just gathering and entertaining and being at home with my loved ones. The other day, I was just making a lasagna because we are a gluten-free household for the most part. I made a gluten-free recipe for the first time for Sue because he loves lasagna, but I haven't been able to find lasagna sheets or lasagna pasta that is gluten-free that tastes good. Except for the other day, I made this for my friends and family and everyone went wild for it. No one even knew that it was gluten-free. I didn't tell them, they couldn't tell. I finally have found the noodle of my choice. So Suk loves it and you guys all asked for the recipe, so here we are. Let's get started. There's not a lot of ingredients that you need for this recipe. I'm gonna keep it really simple because whenever I make food for Suk or the boys, the less ingredients, the better. They just gobble it up. So we're gonna use an onion, a little bit of basil, your favorite tomato sauce, and some ground beef. Simple as that. We're gonna start by mincing our garlic. I'm just gonna take the garlic out of its skins. This is probably the most tedious part of making this lasagna is getting the garlic out. And now I am gonna put the recipe for a full casserole dish. So it will feed up to about 8 to 10 people. And I know I like to cook in abundance, but that's just the way I've been taught. I came from a household of 5 siblings. And so when my mom used to make food, she used to cook for at least like 10 or 11 of us because I live with an extended family. My grandparents live with us as well. So whenever I make recipes, I always make a lot more than I actually need, even though there's only 4 of us living in our home. It's just from habit, and I've been taught it's better to have more food than not enough food. I work a lot too, so I like to have leftovers, and I always feel lasagna or pastas taste better the next day anyways. So if I make this today, you better believe my family's gonna be eating this today and tomorrow for dinner. First thing we're gonna do is add our onion, and we're gonna cook this down a bit. Once your onions start to sweat a little, add in your garlic. I'm gonna let this reduce. In go the mushrooms. As you can see, the onions have started sweating. They're almost starting to get a little translucent, and that's what you want. So I'm doing a family pack of lean ground beef. I'm not doing extra lean ground beef because I want the fat. Normally when I'm cooking like a pasta penne, I just use extra lean ground beef, but for this, I used lean. You could use regular as well. I just want the fats to come out. It actually absorbs into the noodle a little bit more and it tastes a little bit better. So this little gadget has really been a game changer in my life because even though we're an Indian household, my kids, and myself, I believe we were Italian in our last lifetimes. We eat way too much pasta, like at least once or twice a week. So this has really come in handy because on Taco Tuesdays, I ground my beef with this. Whenever I'm making pasta, I ground my beef with this. I love this little gadget and I got it on Amazon and it's on my Amazon storefront under Kitchen Essentials. Look at that. So easy, I just keep stabbing it, that's it. And while the meat is still a little pink, we're gonna season our meat. So I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a lot of pepper. I love pepper. And a little bit of Italian seasoning. Just some Clubhouse Italian seasoning. That should be good. All right, so now that my beef is cooked, you're gonna add your pasta sauce of your choice. It doesn't really matter. I am just using a marinara sauce, okay? Normally, any normal household would just put one sauce pan in, but I'm gonna do 2 jars of, and then we're just gonna let this simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. All right, if you have a fresh basil pot, like I always do. I love the smell of basil in my home. I love having basil in my home. And since I cook so much Italian food, I'm just gonna grab some. And I'm just gonna whip it into there. And let this simmer for about, yeah, like I said, 10 to 15 minutes. And we're gonna go get our lasagna tray and start assembling pretty soon here. While the meat is simmering, I'm just gonna grab a block of mozzarella cheese and I'm gonna grate it myself. I know you could purchase it pre-grated and it makes life easier, but I always feel like that cheese has like a film around it and it doesn't melt as ooey, as gooey as a block of mozzarella cheese. So I like to grate it myself, especially for lasagna, because the best part of lasagna is when you cut it into pieces and serve it is that stringy cheese. Whoa, 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 whoa. There we go.
Wow.
Cheese. And you know what? We're probably gonna end up using it all. My family loves cheese, you guys. I love cheese. Who doesn't love cheese? And we're back. So we have our ground beef pasta sauce, we have our baking dish, we have our mozzarella cheese, and we also have our lasagna sheets. I mean, you could layer in between ricotta cheese if you want. There's so many different recipes of how you could make lasagna. This one in particular is just how my kids like it, and my husband likes it. Very simple. Oh, I'm out of oil. Hold on one sec. So this is just regular olive oil. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that on the bottom of the sheet so it doesn't stick. And also, here's the trick. Add about half a cup of water, not even, like a quarter cup of water on the bottom of your baking sheet. Why I do this is because the steam that's gonna be released in the oven, that's gonna get trapped in the tin foil, is really gonna help cook those noodles. So it's gonna speed up the process and also ensure that your lasagna is nice and moist without it being too dry. Okay, once we've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and put a good ladle of meat sauce right on the bottom, the first layer. Then, okay, now I like to layer mine on top of one another because my family loves a noodly pasta. Sometimes I even do like this. I'll go over it with 2 sheets of noodles and then a really heavy portion of meat sauce right on top. Because if it's not noodly enough, I know my kids and I know myself, I really like a dense lasagna. But look how much pasta sauce I'm also putting in between each layer. Then we're gonna do, after the meat sauce, we're gonna add our mozzarella. So these Catelli gluten-free pasta sheets are literally the best. I love them. I know my family loves them too. So we're gonna just layer them up. So I did double here. That should be good enough. Actually, let's do a little bit more there. And on the second one, I'm just gonna add a little bit more water in between, right there. And now the meat. So we're gonna do a layer of meat sauce, and this is it. I'm not gonna do a third layer, I don't think. Well, Cole, do you think we have room for a third layer?
I think we just get cheese on top of this.
Yeah. And I'm gonna, actually, I don't put cheese right on top of this. I'm gonna cook this with tin foil in the oven for 30 minutes at 375 degrees until it's pretty much done. And then I'm gonna remove the tin foil, cover it with cheese, and leave it in the oven for another 15 minutes for the cheese to get nice and melted. And then we're gonna serve it after it's cooled for another 15 minutes. So an hour total from this point on, and then we're gonna serve it, okay? All right, into the oven it goes. Just really give it a good seal so the steam does not escape, and we'll be back in 45 minutes. And also any meat sauce that you have left over, stick it in a Ziploc bag, flatten it out. Actually, let's remove some of this air. And then we're gonna write the date on it, flatten it out. We're gonna write the date on it, stick it in the freezer. So next time you're in a bind and you don't have time to make the meat sauce, you could just literally take this out of the freezer in the morning, stick it in the fridge. By the time you come home from work, boil some noodles, Bob's your uncle. All right, it's been 45 minutes. Let's take our lasagna out. Whew. And see how we're looking. Ooh, yep, there's the bubbles, there's the sizzling. We're gonna top it off with cheese, but before I do that, I just wanna give it the fork test to see if the noodles are cooked. They're still a little al dente, but I like my noodles look like a little bit on the chewier side, so we're good to go because we're still gonna cook this for another 15 minutes. Now we're gonna top this with a good amount of mozzarella. It depends on how much cheese you really love. My family loves cheese, so we're just gonna let it rain cheese on top of this thing and stick it back in the oven for another 15 minutes. This is gonna be so good, Cole. Can't wait for you to try it. Okay, back into the oven for another 15 minutes, and then we'll be right back. All right, 15 minutes later. I know this looks really golden, but we like our lasagna really crispy, almost pizza-like. I'm gonna let this set for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're gonna cut into it. It sounds good. Oh my God, it smells even better, you guys. This is such a great lasagna. I can't wait to get into it. Okay, we'll be back in 10 minutes. you want an oven-ready, gluten-free lasagna recipe that's gonna blow your mind? Well, these Catelli noodles are amazing and they are gonna change your mind when it comes to gluten-free. I can't wait for you to try this.